Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hope all of you are doing fine today. I am Maham Lodi from Divisional Public School and Intermediate College, Lahore. Welcome to Lecture 11 of Mathematics for Class 5. Today we are going to study chapter number 6 titled Unitary Method, and the topic of today's lecture is also Unitary Method. You can find this topic on your book, page 117 of Countdown 5. Quickly grab your Oxford Countdown Book 5 and your stationery items. Let's get started. Before we start, let's have a quick look at the contents of today's lecture. Today we will learn what is a unitary method, an example of unitary method, and some real-life problems about unitary method. Unitary method involves multiplication and division, and for that matter, in order to apply multiplication and division in real life, you already know how to apply multiplication in real life. I will give you an example to refresh your memory. Let's say cost of one maths book is 250 rupees. What will be the cost of 5 maths books? Look carefully. You are given the cost of one book, and you have to find out the cost of multiple books. Cost of more books is to be found. When you're given one quantity, one value, and you have to find out that specific value for multiple things. So we always multiply. In this case, 5 will be multiplied to 250. That will give us 1250. You also know how to apply division in real life. Let's say an amount of 125,000 is to be divided among 25 students for their education. How much will each student receive? Look closely. You are giving a large amount, and that large amount is to be divided among 25 students. When a large amount is to be divided and you have to find out the value of a single unit, the value of one entity, you have to find out the amount given to one student. So we divide these two numbers. Got it? Let's see what is this unitary method. The unitary method is a technique for solving a problem by two steps. First, finding the value of a single unit. It means we will be given a large amount and the respective value. Then, finding the required value by multiplying the single unit value. It sounds a bit difficult. Let's try to understand it with an example. Let's say cost of 6 balls is 180 rupees. How much cost is for 8 balls? Understand the situation like you go to a shopkeeper and you ask for 8 balls. You ask him how much is for 8 balls, and he tells you that for 6 balls you have to pay 180 rupees. He hasn't told you about 8 balls. These are two different numbers, and 6 balls are less, 8 balls are more. You want 8 balls, but he has told you that 6 balls are worth 180 rupees. So you have to calculate it, but it's not that difficult. Let's recall what we already know and we have stated in this lecture earlier as well. When value of one thing is given, what do? Value of multiple things is found out by multiplication. When a large value is given, what do we do then? Value of one thing is found out by division. Now let's get back to our example. The shopkeeper has told you that 6 balls are worth 180 rupees, right? Unitary method requires you to find out the value of a single unit first. So we find out the value of one ball. How much is one ball worth? What do we have to do? When a large value is given and you have to find out the value of one thing, what do? We divide. Cost of 6 balls is 180 rupees. This information is given in the word problem. Unitary method requires you to do what? It requires you to first find out the value of a single unit. How do we do that? We divide the large number by the given value. So in this case, the cost of one ball is found out by dividing 180 by 6 and we get 30 rupees. What is the second step of unitary method? In the second step, you multiply the required value, which is 8 balls. You need the value for 8 balls. So you multiply that required value with the value obtained for single unit. That is 30 here. Cost of 8 balls will be found out by multiplying the cost of one ball with 8. What do we get? 30 multiplied by 8 gives us 240 rupees. Let me explain it to you one more time. आपको शॉपकीपर ने बताया कि 6 balls की कॉस्ट है 180 rupees, but you need 8 balls. अब 8 balls की कॉस्ट निकालनी है. यूनिटरी मेथड यहाँ पे हमें हेल्प करता है. कैसे हेल्प करता है? हमारे पास यूनिटरी मेथड के 2 स्टेप्स हैं. आप उनको सिर्फ फॉलो करो तो आपका प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाता है. फर्स्ट स्टेप ये है कि आप 1 यूनिट की, एक सिंगल यूनिट की वैल्यू फाइंड आउट करो. 6 बॉल्स की वैल्यू गिवन है, तो फर्स्ट स्टेप के लिए हमें 1 बॉल की वैल्यू चाहिए. हम यही काम करते हैं. वी फाइंड आउट कॉस्ट ऑफ 1 बॉल. अब मसला ये है कि 1 बॉल की हम निकालेंगे कैसे? अभी हमने रिकॉल किया था कि जब आपको एक बड़ी वैल्यू गिवन हो और आपको एक सिंगल वैल्यू निकालनी हो तो वहां पे आप डिवीजन की हेल्प लेते हो. यहाँ पे भी हम यही करेंगे. We divide 180 by 6 and it gives us 30 rupees. अब आगे चलते हैं. यूनिटरी मेथड का सेकंड स्टेप क्या कहता है? सेकंड स्टेप हमें ये कहता है कि आपने जो एक सिंगल यूनिट की वैल्यू फाइंड आउट की है उसको अपने रिक्वायर्ड वैल्यू के साथ मल्टीप्लाई करो तो आपको आंसर मिल जाएगा. जो आप चाह रहे हो वो आपको मिल जाएगा. यहाँ पे भी हम ये करके देखते हैं. हमें क्या चाहिए? हमें 8 बॉल्स की कॉस्ट चाहिए और सिंगल यूनिट की वैल्यू हमने निकाल ली है. अब हम उसी सिंगल यूनिट की वैल्यू को 8 से मल्टीप्लाई कर देंगे. जब मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे तो हमारे पास 8 बॉल्स की कॉस्ट आ जाएगी. अब यहाँ पे मल्टीप्लिकेशन ने ही हमें क्यों हेल्प किया? क्योंकि अगर आपको याद हो तो जब आपके पास एक सिंगल वैल्यू गिवन हो और आपने मल्टीपल चीज़ों की वैल्यू फाइंड आउट करनी हो तो वहाँ पे हम मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं. यहाँ पे भी हमने वही रूल अप्लाई किया है. आपके पास एक बॉल की कॉस्ट आ गई थी, आपने 8 बॉल्स की कॉस्ट निकालने के लिए इस वैल्यू को 8 से मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया. Got it? I hope you have grasped the concept of unitary method. Let's practice a little more. Now we solve a word problem from your book. Turn to page 117. We are going to solve question number 1. Question 1 states that a year's rent for a house is 18,000 rupees. If the Shah family wants to rent the house for only 7 months, how much rent will they have to pay? In order to solve a word problem, the first step is to identify the information given in the statement. First information is rent of a house for 1 year, that is 12 months, is 18,000 rupees. It means that the family pays 18,000 rupees for 12 months. Now you have to find out what will they pay only for 7 months. A year's rent for a house is 18,000 rupees. 1 year is 12 months. We are given the rent of 12 months, that is 18,000 rupees. Unitary method requires us to do what? The first step is to find out the value for single unit. So 12 months rent is given. We find out the rent for 1 month. How do we get that? We divide 18,000 by 12 and we get 1500 rupees. Let's move on to the next step. For the second step of unitary method, we have to find out rent for 7 months. फर्स्ट स्टेप में हमने एक सिंगल यूनिट की वैल्यू निकालनी थी, वो हमने निकाली 1 month rent. For the second step, what do? We multiply that single unit value with the required value. तो हमें 7 months की वैल्यू चाहिए. We find out that value by multiplying 7 with 1500 and the result is 10,500. So Shah family pays the rent of 10,500 for 7 months. Let's get our hands dirty on some practice now. You have to solve question number 1, question 2 and question 5, that is on page number 117. Question 1 has been discussed in this lecture. The other two questions are similar. You can do that. It's not that hard. You will solve all these 3 questions on your notebooks. Other than that, you have to solve practice sheet number 3, that is on page number 184 in your countdown. That is actually a review of your previous concepts. You can do that on your book. If you have any queries regarding this lecture, you can comment down below. Thank you.